Now, talking about the announcement of the new ex-depot price of 151 naira 56 kobo on Wednesday by the PPMC, some marketers have adjusted their petrol pump price to between 160 to 162 naira per litre. In a statement by the Major Oil Marketers Association of Nigeria, MOMAN, the chairman, Mr. Tunji Oyebanji, says prices will have to be adjusted to reflect the realities of the increase of ex-depot prices by the PPMC. He, however, explains that the magnitude of increase, timing and allocation is a decision left to each company. But with these developments now, it would appear that technically the federal government has deregulated prices, as the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Mr. Timipre Silva, was quoted on Thursday saying that Nigeria is no longer in the business of fixing fuel price. But joining us now to make sense of these developments is a key player in the oil and gas industry, Mr. Emmanuel Ihanacho. Good morning, Mr. Ihanacho. Thanks for joining us on the program. We'd like to begin with you telling us what exactly is the true picture of the downstream deregulation today, given the new ex-depot price announced by the PPMC.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me to your program. When we talk about issues of petroleum prices, we're talking about the issues of the health of the Nigerian economy. For a very long time, we had maintained a regulated regime that regulated the prices of products and regulated the volumes that could be brought in. And basically what happened for so many years was that a subsidy was considered, where government ostensibly, in an effort to better the lot of the common man, was giving subsidized petroleum products to people who came to the pumps to buy. Well, we have always said that this was a very inefficient way to distribute resources, because the people who benefited from regulated prices of petroleum products were not the ones who were supposed to benefit. It benefited car owners, it benefited truck owners, it benefited business owners. Whomsoever drove into the filling station was the beneficiary, not the poor man that it was supposed to go to. And so for years, we had criticized this arrangement. And we had suggested that the best thing to do was to allow market prices determine the volumes that came in, and allow market forces determine the prices that were paid. And so government would be able to save huge amounts that it gave away as subsidies. And so this is what has happened over the course of the past few months. The subsidy regime has been scrapped, or so we hear, but we now have this situation where they're talking about price modulation. What are you modulating? We have a very good example as to how market forces would actually determine prices and volumes. With the deregulation of diesel or AGO, there's no problems.
Now, Mr. Ihanacho, the government, of course, has said that Nigeria is no longer in the business of fixing fuel prices, which, of course, you just confirmed that. And we know that there's no provision for subsidy in the current budget. But what does this then mean for the nation?
Well, what it means really is that market forces really ought to regulate the prices, and the government should be in a position then to accrue a lot of revenue from subsidies that it doesn't have to pay. And then the government would have a lot of money to invest in infrastructure developments. And actually, then government would be able to determine policies that would route help to poor people directly, that goes into their pockets, rather than subsidies that were appropriated that people who shouldn't be having it. So that's where we are. And what we're saying is the price modulation that is being practiced, where from time to time, someone says, well, this is the band within which you can price, doesn't make sense. If you are going to deregulate, you have to go the whole hog to get the full benefits, and that's where we should be.
Yeah, but what do you make of the decisions of the various groups of marketers like IPMAN members, who seem to have agreed to a price while MOMAN leaves the selling price open?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite get the question. What have they been doing?
I was asking that what would you make of the decisions by the various groups of marketers? That is, IPMAN members seem to have agreed to a price, and MOMAN, on their own part, are still leaving the prices open.
Well, it's the confusion that is caused by the intervention of the administration in seeking to call prices and volumes. If the administration withdraws completely from doing it and allows that market forces to determine the volumes that are brought in and the prices at which it would be sold, then there wouldn't be any problem because you would be in a freely competitive situation. If your market offering was not sufficiently competitive, people will buy from your competitors. But now we have a situation where people don't know what to do. So shall we obey? We make a little bit of profit here, and the system is a little bit efficient, but not quite as efficient as it should be. I think that the solution to all this confusion is really for us to decree full deregulation, just like we did with diesel, and allow that market forces will determine the prices and volumes that are brought in. Incidentally, by the way, that is the best way that the common man will benefit from the situation that we have in hand, because it will result in a situation where government will have sufficient revenues to determine palliatives that would go direct to the poor man rather than be appropriated by people who can very well afford to pay the price, the full price of petroleum products.
But then how justifiable would we say is a sudden change in price by the marketers, considering the off-the-shelf stock of these dealers?
Well, the truth of the matter is that some of those marketers are acting arbitrarily, because if you want to look at a logical basis for some of the pricing that they are adopting, you have pointed to the fact that one group of marketers are adopting one set of prices and another group of marketers are adopting another set of prices. They are all satisficing. They are not actually optimizing. They really should come together, make a proper presentation to government to say that both the government and the people will benefit optimally if we absolutely deregulate. There is no way that anybody will have monopoly prices if you are at liberty to go into the market yourself and put your products out there and depress the prices. That is the way that we'll have equilibrium pricing, which is what everybody should actually be aiming for.
So, but why we'll wait to see if that would happen? By the time moment members come up with their price, what's the average price that you anticipate?
Well, I can't anticipate anything because my organization is not a member of MOMAN, and I'm not entirely sure what the decision process in MOMAN, how it is determined. So I can't really anticipate. I'm thinking that it's very easy for you to see a template if you want to say, where is the imported template, and we can show it to you, and you can see what the landing price of the product would be, and you can then compare it to what people are charging. I think that what the government should do is what they set out to do months ago, absolutely ensure that there is no further intervention by any government agency in calling prices and volumes with respect to the trade in PMS.
A key player in the oil and gas industry, Mr. Emmanuel Ihanacho, thanks for speaking with us on Business Morning today.
Thank you. Nice talking to you.